Hello everyone, my name is Brian and welcome back to another Smite request. I got requested a long time ago playing Nemesis in Conquest. I didn't really pick up Conquest at that point. I played it a bit more lately. I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting the hang of it again. It's actually really fun. But it's a very different game than the others. So also, jungle never has been my strongest point, even back in the beta days when you only had Conquest as game mode and map. Jungle wasn't just my strong suit. I preferred the ADC, the mid and sometimes the solo, although solo is sometimes really the solo island where only two men are slapping off against each other. So yeah. So this was the first game I played as Nemesis. We are against Maniac. He's in a Smite Pro League team. I'm not entirely sure in what team he was. I think it's Eager, but I'm not too sure about it. But he is a solo laner, and he is Amaterasu in the solo lane. I got requested playing Nemesis. I finally picked her up, and we are already with only the four of us. Ares did not load in from the get-go. Maybe got scared because of the pro player Maniac, or he felt like not playing anymore. Maybe he had something to do and didn't see the time. All those things can be something that affects the game. But that does make this a bit more impossible than it already was regarding the fact that well, 4 on 5, you will never win it, but we can still make a good game out of it. I do want to mention that this will not change. Ares will not come back, so that's why it's a pretty short game. We already surrendered before the 10-minute mark, so that's just a heads up. But I still felt like uploading this one, just to see if I have some things I can improve according to my, my gameplay with an jungler overall and with Nemesis. I don't play Nemesis too often and I don't play jungle at all. So if I would play jungle, then it'd rather be with an assassin I'm more comfortable with, talking about Naja or Awilish or something like that. But Nemesis is definitely not the first pick. Nemesis is also not very strong in my opinion lately, and that all has to do with the fact that you can counter her pretty easily if you are slow immune. She only slows with her ult and her Q, so that makes things rather difficult for you to sometimes deal your damage or stick to someone effectively. We got both of those mid camps, so that worked out great. Their jungler just arrived at us, Loki being their jungler. I'm not too sure why he wasn't there from the get-go, but I don't really mind. This gave us a lot of pressure against the Raijin, who is very powerful to begin with. But the fact that we are 4 on 5 makes things a lot more difficult because our hunter is alone in the dual lane, so he needs to be very careful. It's on 2 on 1 or in this case a 3 on 2 makes things a little bit more difficult. Definitely for me, I can't really leave the mid lane too much, otherwise he will be in a big trouble, especially since he is an immobile god like Vulcan. So what do I think of Nemesis? I do think she is pretty powerful with her ultimate. She can allow a team to burst someone very quickly, even if they are a bit tanky. But other than that, I don't think she brings too much to the table, especially since CCs are a lot more around and a lot better being with beats on such a long cooldown. She really has issues because CCs remove her shield from her 3. Make it a lot more difficult to use it properly, and that makes it, yeah, it kind of makes it, I don't know, it's not really unplayable, but very difficult to play her in great effectiveness, in my opinion. She can still be very annoying with that shield, as you saw there. The tick from the Athena 3 came out. As she taunted me, I cast my 3, reflecting and healing me up a bit, preventing most of the damage from being dealt. So definitely very powerful to counter some powerful abilities, but since CCs get rid of it that quickly, that makes it just a lot more difficult. especially considering the fact that they have some good CCs. You have the mess on Raijin, as well as his Taunt of Fear ultimate. You have the silence and stun on Amaterasu, stun on Loki ultimate. You have the taunt of Athena, of course, and as well the honor impale. And all those things remove my shield, so that makes it very difficult for me to use it. And I really need to take care in when I use it. If I use it too early and they have a CC, they can still kill me. Or I need to use my beast preemptively, making sure I get it. Pointing out that they are invading the blue buff. Kinda forgot, I haven't played Nemesis in a long time. The slice and dice, her second ability, does not go through walls. So that's a bit unfortunate. So jungle, you always want to get Boomba's Mask, just healing. It allows you to heal up and gain more gold by sharing with your teammates. And this way it's just a lot better. Fortunately enough, I left the mid lane a bit too long. And they were able to pick up Vulcan in the mid lane 2-on-1, makes things a little bit more difficult. Athena very low, she has a lot of block stacks as you saw there. She blocked 2 of my auto attacks, also the 2 that hit the most. And that last tower shot hurt me a lot. I tanked it for way too long, but Bologna was able to pick up 2 of them, so that actually worked out in our favor. Bit unfortunate, I died, overextended. Thinking my damage would have been enough. Well, it definitely was not. The right lane, they are not playing against each other, they are just looking at the wave. They aren't, maybe they are both clearing it, at least later in stage in the game. Honor says that they are both doing nothing, and it kind of makes sense. They don't really have to contribute anything. It only makes things more difficult if Honor and Honor are also fighting, because if our Honor is losing, it's another god we have to take into consideration in this game. Considering we are only with the 4 of us, we are not too far behind actually. We are only the first blood behind. And if you take that into consideration, Ares doesn't get any gold at all. So that's actually, you could say we are ahead individual. But still, the fact that we are 4-on-5 makes it a lot more difficult to deal with. I go for the back camps. Sometimes you just want to go for the XP share with your mid laner. Clearing the mid wave with him and then go for the jungle buffs. I kinda elected to go a bit different because he is stacking. I figured he can go for the wave, I go for the back camps. And that way the back camps will be up sooner as well. This buff goes to the Vulcan, of course. He does a lot more damage than I do. I'm more of a walking ultimate, and my 2 of course doing a good amount of damage. Definitely not bad ability at all. It's just that if they have an escape, it's not as effective as it can be. And like I said, there are a lot of things that counter her. The fact that beats are so, well, have so long of a cooldown in this season. As well as the fact that you can pick up sprint from the get-go. There are items that counter, like Winged Blade, pretty cheap to pick up. So there's a lot of things you can do against the Nemesis, which relies on slows a lot. So if you don't have a team that locks down the enemies, it might be very difficult for you to do well. And that's something that can be very difficult to deal with sometimes. Sometimes I do like to pick up a Frostbound Hammer, that way I can stick to my opponents a bit better. But again, if they have any movement speed, well, slow immunities, then they will still get away, or if they have a good escape. So, at this point, just farming on. Very important in Conquest to farm, and at this point, Vulcan is getting dove. I used my ultimate over the wall at the Raijin. I figured he was in the tower range, but he was not. I am able to deal a good amount of damage. Slice and dice, able to pick him up. I do need to be careful. It's still... Loki's chasing me. Vanished. Barely, not enough. Getting away with 36 HP. But that's just enough. 1 HP is enough. If you have life left, you can get away. Usually. Unless there's, of course, a new enemy team. Then you're basically screwed every single time she has her ultimate up and you're that low. But still, Vulcan having a rough time. They are in the mid lane with 2 every single time, and if someone comes for a gank, it's pretty difficult to deal with, especially with an Athena forcing out beats pretty easily, and Loki dealing so much damage. I am going pretty aggressive. You need to be a bit careful. I dashed in a bit, was a bit of a mistake dashing back in. If I did that, I should have used my 3 to negate the damage from Athena's shield wall. So that was again a bit of a misplay, took unnecessary damage. But I will be able to heal up pretty nicely with Boomer's Mask, clearing out some buff camps. So at this point 3 to 4, actually pretty decent if you consider it. Vulcan again getting Dove. I go for the more tanky target because she did use all her abilities. This allows me to probably focus her down, and yes, it is enough. And I used my dash in an attempt to secure it. I figured my auto attack would not have been enough, and at that point the solo laner Amaterasu came as well, and I was pretty much screwed at that point. I kind of need to be a bit careful though, because my map awareness is still not what it used to be, because I was a lot better at keeping track of the enemies or what my teammates are saying during a fight, and here I really forget that sometimes. Something I need to work on. Double kill for our honor, but today I like to surrender. So why did I make this commentary? I kind of wanted to use it to ease into the next one, because there is a next one. The second game I played in a row. That one is an entire game, not one that is surrendered before the 10-minute mark, so that will be probably a lot more interesting. But I still wanted to show her off a bit, talk about her, and let's just see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.